Alright guys, so today what we're going to do is start on our first ever MADLab from home project. This week what I want you to do is to make a piece of wearable sculpture made from the materials that you can find at home that is inspired by an animal of your choosing. So the first step that we want you to do is to choose an animal. This animal could be something that speaks to you, it could be your favorite animal, it could be something that you feel is really symbolic of a lot of stuff and you feel that that trait speaks to you. Doesn't matter. Just choose an animal and have a good reason for doing it. So for this example, me and Nina are going to use an owl. And if you wanted to use an owl, I'm sorry, but this is the one we're going to show, and we're going to cover a few different ways of representing the owl. So try to choose something else if you were thinking of this. The first step that we're going to do is to mind map it out. So step one is to just write the word of the animal, just write the animal's name, and then you are going to start branching out into those immediate details that jump out at you. So for instance, for the owl, I have beak, I have big eyes, I have feathers, and I also wrote the word wise because I feel like that's kind of a symbol that's kind of associated with it. When you go from those basic details, you can branch out to even more. So over here in beak, I have basic upside down triangle, smallish beak. Over here by big eyes, I have the goggles from Watchmen because that's what I kind of think of in terms of eyes in the owl. Really sharp pupils, that almond shape, and feathers. And so the next mind map I'm going to do is wearable. How are we going to make this wearable? So now I'm going to ask myself, what are ways in which we can wear things? And this is really where the power of the mind map comes to fruition, because I thought that I could just write these out, but I would already know them in my head. And as I started writing them, new ideas came to my brain, and one of those new ideas was eventually the one we chose. So over here I have wearable, then I have on your head, because you can wear many things on your head. So from on my head you can do crown, hat, glasses, and I also have necklace. On your hands, and then this was the new idea that I ended up choosing, which was brooch or a pin, because you can wear that and have it be just attached to your shirt. Another thing I want to point out is at this point, I'm not just writing random things that you can wear, I'm also brainstorming about my own piece. So over here by necklace, I have silver/gold colored for elegance. Even though I'm probably going to be using basic materials, I'm already thinking about why would maybe an owl inspired object be silver and gold instead of, a multicolored thing. Over by my brooch and pin, I have aluminum cans cut to strips because I'm thinking about how I can use the materials that I hope to find to do that. And I even can have like feathers coming out of head. So already when you're doing your wearable mind maps, start coming up with the ideas exactly of how your animal's features can kind of come through. And if you're ever stuck, you could always just look back to your animal mind map and see what features you can highlight. Another useful trick, so that way you don't lose association, is to put it all on one sheet. Over here we have Nina's, and she has owl, paper, and feathers all on one sheet with all those various associations like beak, talons, fins, shark owls, paper, construction, cardboard, trees, and on her feathers she also has things like flying, copying, and all these different associations that she can go back to when she's brainstorming her design. Step 2. So the step 2 part of the process is, for me, going to be collecting the materials that you have at your home. Now, this is something you can do after sketching. If you've already started coming up with design ideas and you definitely don't want to lose them, you go ahead and do that. But if you are like me and you need to see the material first before you have an idea of what you can work with, start digging around for the materials that you can get. The materials that I have here are some soda cans and a cardboard box. The tools I'm using are scissors and some masking tape. I'm not using hot glue, I'm not using regular glue, and I'm not going to use paint or markers because there is no promise that you guys have those at home. But there should at least be some cans or even some cardboard somewhere lying around. For Nina's piece, it looks like the materials that she's going to be using is some Elmer's glue, some tape, some fabric that she found, some construction paper, some scissors, and it looks like even some packaging tape too, as well as some metal rings that she found. Alright guys, you've made it to the last step for today, and that's going to be sketching. Now that you have an idea of the different traits that your animal has, and the different ways in which you could maybe show it being worn, and also the materials that you have if you dug around enough, then go ahead and start coming up with ideas. This is actually the real key part of the design process. Over here, I'm choosing one feature of my mind map where I said the owls and I started to focus in on the eyes. But then I also use my wearable mind map and think about glasses. I have 4 different versions of glasses. And then I started thinking about that one owl guy from Animal Crossing. And I kind of really liked the way that his eyes and owl shape kind of communicated it. So I started drawing out his design. I also have the idea of a feather. And I also wrote that in my mind map before. I'm thinking a lot about wearing a brooch or a badge and how a feather would be easy to cut out of aluminum or anything really. And I could layer a lot of them here. So here I have the sketch of me layering the feathers out. But then I have an owl eye on there. And I don't really like the way that owl eye looks. But if I go back to my mind map where I can see the Y's written down, the Y's logo for potato chips kind of communicates an owl's eye pretty efficiently. So I started sketching that out too. Over here by Nina's sketch, you can see how she's starting to break down the basic shapes of the form too. Taking an idea of her feather and seeing how it's basic like rhombus shapes and how she could apply folds. There was also the first draft of a talon and even a sketch of an owl and its eyes and one large pupil being bigger than the other one. Okay guys, by the end of today, you should have these things ready for me. You should have at least 2 mind maps. One of your animal and its features and the other of the ways you can wear the features of your animal. The next thing you should have for me is a photo of all the supplies you found. If you are really at a loss for supplies and you cannot find a single thing, including paper or recyclable material or cardboard, then just feel free to message me on this Google Classroom. And the last thing you should have, which is arguably the most important, is at least 4 pages worth of sketching done. Sketching is thinking, and for me to be able to see your thought processes, I need to see your drawings. Don't be afraid to stop, start, and go back. Use the most of your mind map. A key trick for me is to just go to your mind map, pick a section, and sketch out ideas that come to mind. Okay, great work. I will upload a video tomorrow featuring the next step of the process, which is assembling the material. And then hopefully soon, by the end of this week, you'll have a piece of wearable sculpture.